avoiding indoors and people or strangers, and then it would just be a big hurdle to get over.
Kailazar says they might reconsider once they're all vaccinated. Kathy Bostjancic, an economist at Oxford Economics, says a lot of other consumers feel the same way.
The confidence to go out and spend on services is very directly related to the progress we're making on the vaccinations.
Bostjancic thinks we'll make enough progress for consumer spending to jump about 3.5% over the next few months. Other economists, like Joseph Minarek of the Conference Board, aren't quite so optimistic.
The people who work in hotels or in transportation, where getting up to full capacity is going to take some time, those folks are going to continue to hold back in terms of their spending.
Minarek says even some people who do have jobs are worried they'll get a pink slip, and economic growth won't recover without them, since roughly 70% of the U.S. economy is consumer spending. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
There's an industry term for people who don't have a checking or savings account, the unbanked. More than 7 million Americans fall into that category, according to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And one consequence of that is not having a place to deposit those federal relief payments Nancy was talking about. Now the FDIC has launched a public campaign aimed at changing that. Marketplace's Justin Ho reports.
Households that are unbanked tend to have lower incomes, more volatile incomes, less education. Leonard Channing, deputy to the chairman of the FDIC, he says 2.5% of white households are unbanked.
And that's in contrast to about 14% of African American households and about 12% of Hispanic households who are unbanked.
There are plenty of reasons why disadvantaged communities might avoid the banking system.
You may have immigrant communities where people come from countries where they can't trust the banking system like they can in the U.S.
Robert James II is the chairman of the National Bankers Association, which represents minority lenders.
You may have situations in the U.S. where people come from communities that have historically been underserved or been preyed upon by the banking system.
Some minority-owned lenders have been trying to overcome that historical hesitation. Dominic Miarcon runs Optus Bank, a black-owned lender in South Carolina. It offers a checking account with no minimum opening balance and no fee if users keep at least $100 in it.
They've intentionally designed that account to be very simple, very transparent, very easy to use.
Through its campaign, the FDIC is trying to let unbanked people know all of the advantages of opening a bank account. Leonard Channing with the FDIC says instead of taking a check to a check cashing service, paying a fee, then walking around with a bunch of cash,
the funds are going to be in an insured account as opposed to a check coming in your mailbox or even a prepaid card coming in your mailbox.
Plus, he says you have access to funds right away to transfer around or pay bills. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
On Wall Street today, there were ups, there were downs. We'll have the details when we do the numbers. President Joe Biden was on the stump for his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan today. In a speech at the White House this afternoon, Biden defended a proposed corporate tax increase to help pay for the plan. Biden wants to raise the tax rate on corporations from 21% to 28%, though he said today he's willing to negotiate on the exact amount. Opponents of the idea say it could create even more incentive for companies to shift their profits to countries with lower tax rates. And to fight that, the Biden administration